What's going on? Anybody out there? What the hell's going on? Holy fuck, man. How are you doing? How you guys doing? Okay. Was that Justin and Kenyon Gonzalez, whatever? Big BX1. What's going on, guys? The real Chris Bra in the house. What's going on? I got a little sunburn. It's tanning bed. So if you guys see, like, it looks like my face is greasy, it's lotion. How you doing, Chris? What's going on over there? Thanks for always taking care of us, Chris. The real Chris Bra. Any second, Mark Lobliner is going to join us, you know. So we're going to have we're just going to talk like two guys, you know, just fucking around on the couch here, talking, you know, like that. You know, no drama, no bullshit. All the drama that, you know, has been going on and all that with Cyber Joe, SBR Joe. How you doing? Yeah, so all that shit's going, it's all going south. Hey, Strength Addicts, there he is. What's up, Christian? So all the drama's been settled, is what I'm trying to tell you. But, so yeah, he'll be in here in a little bit. We talked on the phone. Comerica, what are you doing? My boy Dave, what are you doing? Oh, Mark Lobliner's here. He's coming on. Hey, Mark, what's going on? Oh, all right, let's get this. And go live with Mark. Mark's coming on any second. It'll pop up. Right? I didn't realize I was standing there chewing gum like a horse. But, oh, Mark overview request. Okay. Okay, Mark Lobliner going live, and you should click on now. I'm not too good with this stuff. I got a flip phone. There he is.
All right, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Whoop, what happened? Something happened. Whoop. Here we go. And going live with Mark again. He's coming, guys. Cheech, find my water. I don't know why, whatever I did with it. There it is. Can you hear me, Mark?
I can now, yeah.
Good, you can hear me loud and clear, right? Whoops.
Okay, let me turn my volume up. For some reason, my headphones kind of took a poop on me.
Oh, that's on. Yeah, because, you know, it's my girlfriend's phone. I still have a flip phone. You can hear me, right? I'm just talking so you can adjust your volume or whatever. You good?
Yeah, let me just take these off and I'll be good to go.
No, that's...
All right, so what's going on, man?
Not much. You know the story. Hamster on a wheel, dog, you know, chasing his tail, same BS, you know, just trying to survive. How about you? How did the soccer game go today?
Oh, today was just practice, man. It's just another day.
Yeah, I hear you.
Just another day. You know, I do the soccer dad thing about 6 days a week. Friday's my off day. Well,
that's important. Because let me tell you something. That's what I respect about you. Thank you. That's what I respect about you the most. You're a dad. And that any man could father a child, but only a real man could be a dad. And this industry's, I mean, I remember when I worked for Muscular Development Magazine, we used to get, court thing sent to Steve Blackman because these guys, I'm not going to say no names, but there's a few pros who don't like to pay child support and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I used to be like, man, how could you be like that? It's your kids, you know?
I don't understand. You know, the thing is, if you've had kids, obviously, when you bring that child into the world and you hold them in your hands, you're like, I'm responsible for this life. You know, this is my child. It's on me to bring them up correctly. It's on me to show them the way. It's on me to support them. And I understand it's not always the most fair legal system after, you know, separation or divorce or whatever's involved or baby mama drama, whatever you want to say.
Right.
But I will say this, you know, I never understood absentee fathers. I can't understand it. You know, especially, I mean, that's your kid. That's your blood. That's your legacy. And I just never understood that. And, you know, we all get caught up in business and get caught up in a lot of things. And, you know, for the last, you know, let me say that there's no priority in life over my children, more important than my children, 100%.
And they know that.
It's what I do. You know,
Your children.
I do everything I can.
Your children know that because I can see the way they are, and they know that you take good care of them and you love them and stuff. Hey, how do they feel about you bodybuilding? Like, do you ever walk into school and like your kids go home, like holy shit, that's your dad? You know, like kids say that or no?
Social media is a really weird thing because Cammie is now in junior high. So her friends follow me on social media. And it's really weird in that I'm at her soccer club and this kid asked me to sign. I didn't know you could sign Snapchat. And he took a selfie. He's like, sign my phone. I'm like, do you have a pen? How do you sign a phone? And I guess you could just sign the screen. And that's when I realized I'm old. You know, that's when I realized I've kind of aged out. I can't hang out with the young kids, but it's actually, I think it's cool because I remember, my dad was, your stereotypical Jewish accountant with the big ass glasses and the mustache, Tom Selleck mustache. And, I was always kind of, not embarrassed, but I was like, yeah, my dad's not really the coolest guy. And I think just being in shape makes it so I'm, a little bit different than, than a lot of dads. So I like being able to play with my kids, and that's why I went to Exos. I got all the certifications. I want to be able to coach my kids and be a part of what they do and help them, and that's really what it's about. So parenting is obviously, as I know about you, parenting is everything. It's why we go to work. It's why we wake up every day.
I get told though, shut up, you're an idiot. Oh my God, you're so annoying. The girls are oh my God, you're embarrassing.
Yeah,
that's what I used to do.
My luckily, my kids are still young enough where I'm still somewhat cool.
I hear you. Now, let me ask you a question.
We'll see if that carries on.
Yeah, well, you could see though. I've watched your videos, and when I see them, you could see that they're, they enjoy, you being, like fit and around, and they, I watch you cooking with them and doing little things. So I seen all that, and that's important, in my opinion anyway, you know what I mean? But now.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's always the key, man. You just gotta be a part of your, how old are your kids now, Greg?
Well, my son is intelligent with the government. He's 28, and my daughter's 20. She majored in marijuana smoking, but she's a little crazy, but she drives me crazy. My son is a totally different animal, but my daughter is the one that gives me the agita, it's like, she's killing me.
Well, daughters are different too because you're more protective. Even with my kids being young, I treat my kids differently based on, my daughter's a female, my kids as boys. With boys, you're like, all right, they'll figure it out. With girls, you're really protective. Like you pay attention to every little thing, and you want everything to be right, and you don't want anybody going near them or hurting them, or right. you get this rage, this rage, and you're just like, that's my daughter, So with your daughter, I think you're much more protective. At least I am.
Oh, absolutely. Now let me ask you the golden question, though. Would you want your kids ever to get involved in this industry?
Oh, absolutely
right.
Not.
It's different in the business.
I don't want my kids involved in fitness.
You're a businessman, so maybe, helping run the business end, but, this expo shit and this industry, and you don't want your kids, right? Because I don't really, I'm glad my kids aren't involved, but, how do you feel about that? Like if your son said, Dad, I want to be a bodybuilder, or your daughter said, I want to be a, bikini girl, a fitness champ. Do you have any thoughts on that or no?
Let me start with my son. I really think there's not many more impressive ways to waste money than to be a competitive bodybuilder. And I want my kids to be fit, healthy, active. I love that they play soccer. I love that they love training, and I think that's going to set them forth with a lot of positive habits throughout their life. Once you get to the level of bodybuilding, like I'm a mediocre pro, and you're a well-known fitness, bodybuilder, and world's largest arms. I think once you get to that level where you're extreme with it, where you're professional, that's when it becomes a health risk. And I just want my kids to be healthy, happy, and successful in whatever they choose to do. As for my daughter, whatever my kids choose to do, I'll support them and I'll give them 100% of everything I have to support them. The problem is, like, I don't want to see my daughter competing in bikini, just because it for me. And again, this isn't a knock at any bikini competitor, but as her father, this isn't me judging other women. As her father, I just don't want to see her turn around looking back at it. I just don't want to see that. And that's just me. And I don't know if I'm going to offend anybody in the process, but I'd rather her just be healthy, secure with who she is, and secure in her body and how she looks and feels, and just do what she loves to do. And I'd support them if they, like my son said, I want to be the next Ronnie Coleman. I'll be like, well, first of all, you have my genetics. That's not going to happen. Second of all, you understand, like, we've had so many, and this could be a good segue, we've had so many bodybuilders recently take it too far and pass away or succumb to many health issues. I don't know if you remember, I forgot his name, but you remember there was that, he actually came back after he had kidney failure. I can't remember his name, but we've had bodybuilders. Matarazzo died of obviously premature heart disease. And I'd support my children, whatever they want to do, but I want to be able to inform them of the risks of whatever they do. You know, like if my kid's playing football, I'm going to be sure to tell them that, look, there's a good chance you're going to get CTE and you're going to have brain deterioration. So there's a risk inherent with everything they do. And I just want to be there to tell them, look, you know, here's what you're getting into. And as someone who's seen the sport of bodybuilding from the inside and the outside, I can honestly say that it's not my first choice for them. But again, I'm not them. I can't make that choice for them.
I think, and I agree with everything you just said, man. I feel the same way you do. My daughter's an athlete, lacrosse, college lacrosse, basketball, you know, but I feel like, you know, this sport is dirty. And I also feel that competitive bodybuilding, who's to say who's better? Who's a better artist? Pablo Picasso or Michelangelo? Totally two different abstracts. Who's a better bodybuilder? If you want to go sheer development, between Frank Zane, who's one of the greatest bodybuilders that ever lived, or Marcus Rule, who's just, you know, was a mass monster. If you want to go by development, Marcus Rule's way more developed in every body part except for maybe the waist, right? So who's to say? It's actually a matter of opinion. I like skinny girls. You may say, well, I like girls with a little bit big ass and big tits. You know, everybody's idea of perfection is different. This is the way I look at it. But, you know, I mean, so.
Well, bodybuilding's subjective, and that's why you'll never have a fair show.
But it's a lifestyle.
You know, there's never been a.
It's not a sport, though. It's a lifestyle. That's the way I look at it. It's a lifestyle, right? How can you call it a sport? You know, that's just my thought. I don't know.
I don't see, you know what, but the actual competing part, I don't see that as a sport either. I see it as more of a pageant. Right. You know, Miss America, they do similar shit. They get on stage, they strut, they get judged how they look in their two-piece, their evening gown. They have a fucking talent round. I mean, and look at how diluted the sport's become. I don't even know, when someone asks you where to compete, what do you say? If somebody has no legs, you tell them to do physique. If someone has okay legs, you tell them to do classic physique. If someone has legs, you tell them to do bodybuilding. And then you got figure, fitness, bodybuilding, physique for women. I mean, what the fuck have we become? I don't even know I don't even know. Everybody's like, who do you pick to win the classic physique? I couldn't even name Sadiq. I know Sadiq. That's it.
My girlfriend loves him.
Is he even classic or is he physique? I'm not even sure who the fuck's where. Then you got these bodybuilders like Durham Charles is like 80 years old, and now he's doing classic. Flex Wheeler came back at classic. Levroni's still crazy enough to do bodybuilding. But I mean, what the hell? Like, what? There's no divisions. I have no idea what's going on. I don't even know who competes where anymore.
I don't either. You know, Levroni's my boy, by the way. I love Kevin Levrone. But
look, I'll tell you what, he's the most genetically gifted man of all time.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing to me. You know, to be able to even come back and look, you know, what, I don't care what anybody says about his legs, but what he's already accomplished, you know, I mean, you know, he hasn't worked out for years, and then he, you know, to come back. But, you know, I don't really give a shit about that stuff. I just feel like, how can you, who's to say whose build is better? We have a standard that we go with, but it's, again, it's like some guys will look at J-Lo and go, oh my God, she's got the hottest ass. And I look at J-Lo and go, dude, that ass is too big for me. Doesn't do shit for me. So it's a matter of opinion. And I feel that's the same way with.
What's wrong with you?
I know, right? Well, I got a lot.
Now, J-Lo's ass that's infallible, man. I mean,
well, I don't know.
You can't talk about J-Lo's ass like that. I mean, look, I don't think the rest, but like if you could just isolate her ass, I mean, that's a fantastic fantastic ass.
I like him skinny, a little Ariana Grande, something like that. I like. Oh, you have no idea. But maybe we better.
That's a little. I'd be afraid to like hurt something, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's it. See, but that's what makes up a world. Imagine if we all like the same thing. You know what I mean? It'd be a boring world, you know. And to me, that's the way bodybuilding is.
Oh, absolutely.
There's people who
absolutely. My whole thing with bodybuilding is, I don't even know what. I think they've segmented it where it's almost irrelevant. Like when I got into bodybuilding, I wouldn't have gone into bodybuilding. I would have done physique. So I think it's more attractive. I think that but here's the thing, like, it attracting, what it did is it's a way for them to make money, because at the end of the day, NPC shows, amateur shows, not pro shows, everybody knows who's promoted shows, pro shows don't make money.
Right.
That's why Europa just didn't make money. The Europa shows made no money on those. 10 people watched the pro shows. The money's in the amateurs, and by making all these divisions and lowering the standard of entry for bikini, which basically any stripper in town can do.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not win. I'm not saying the good bikini girls are strippers. I'm saying, you know, I went to the Emerald Cup when bikini first came out. This is in 2005. And there were 120 girls competing in bikini. It was one of the first years. And I'm like, who are these? Like, what is this? And it was the honest truth. They were all like local strippers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a brilliant marketing scheme, because you go to, like, you're charging $50 for a fucking ticket to a show that's boring as shit, and you're literally, this girl's gonna bring every one of her family members, friends, her boyfriend, her side dude. I mean, she's gonna bring everybody with her, and they're gonna make $200 a competitor.
No, you're right. That's the crazy. Imagine if Derek Jeter had to pay to play for the Yankees. Here's my $200. I get to play today's game. It's like lunacy, the way this whole shit is run, number one. Number two, I remember Gaspari had a girl that he hired, and she was a pro. I can't remember her name because it was towards the beginning of bikini. And she never trained a day in her life. She actually gave birth and then was doing like Jane Fonda tape and shit at her house. Never spent a moment in the gym, but yet won a bikini contest. And I'm going to tell you something. My sister could have fucking won a bikini. You had to see my sister's body. She was a Barbie doll with abs and boobs. I mean, like, you know, and she could have won it and never didn't have to work out, you know. If she wasn't my sister, I'd bang her. Actually, I'd bang her even though she is my sister. But,
damn, Greg, that's weird. That's some West Virginia shit, man.
You know,
jeez.
Hey, listen, keep it in the family. But, no, but, you know what I wanted to ask you? Right? You know, it's
wow.
It's just the way it, hey, not for nothing, but I got it going on right now. My girlfriend will tell you, oh, shut up. She's like, shut up. I got the gift that keeps on giving. Hey, you know, when I was 18, I got herpes and shit, and that shit is fucking kicking my ass right today. It keeps coming back and back and back and back and back. 40 years of that.
Well,
what's that?
Yeah, I'd imagine herpes is a pain in the ass to
It's a pain in the dick. I didn't get it in the ass, but I'm just saying it's anyway, enough of that shit. Let me ask you a question. Now, I got to ask this because I know that a lot of guys come to you for like, you know, companies come to you for advice that when they're starting their supplements and stuff. How did you get hooked up? Because you did Sylvester Stallone's supplements, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, we try not to talk about those dark days.
Oh, I thought you were still doing it. I don't even know. I'm not really too caught up with everything that goes on. You know what I mean? I don't.
No. I mean, I'm talking about Stallone. Yeah, that didn't last too long. I got fired. I was a founding shareholder. And then, see, the thing is with Hollywood people and these investors, they don't like it when you tell them the truth. They went bankrupt about a year after I left. So Well, I didn't really leave. I was kind of pushed out the door, but nonetheless, it was a weird experience. Like, I was just talking to someone about it today at soccer. It's like, you know, here I am, 24 years old, at the W Hotel with these billion-dollar investment groups. Sly talking to his wife. My wife and his wife are talking. It was just weird. It was just like, where am I right now? And they had no idea. Like, the egos were bigger than the pocketbooks,
right?
You know.
So I just was curious, like, how the hell did you wind up, like, how did you guys get hooked up? Did he talk with you at all, or no?
So I was at Weeder Publications from 1999 through 2004. And in that time, I met a lot of people, and I actually did really, really well. I worked my way up the company, and I ended up working with a lot of companies. And one of the guys who actually became the CEO of InStone, he recruited me to be a founder of the company as their marketing, one of the marketing guys. So I basically was like, you know, I was making really, for my age, dude, I mean, the money I was making in publishing before magazines took a shit was fucking criminal. Like, it was sick money. And, you know, but I was topped out, and my wife had a good job. You know, she was a director of marketing for the company she was at, so we could live off of her salary alone. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take that risk, and like, I get to work with fucking Sly. It's gonna be great. It was a very weird 3 months. I think it was 3 or 4 months. But again, it's an experience, and it led to, you know, starting Scivation, which was awesome.
Right.
And that was a great experience. Sold that in 2011. But I mean, look, it was an experience nonetheless. So I'd say I wouldn't trade it for anything. Looking back, I can't believe I took that fucking job, because the writing was on the wall that it was a real bad mistake waiting to happen. But I mean, dude, how many people can say they flavored a MRP in Sly's kitchen?
That's
what
I'm
how
saying.
many people can say that they had dinner at Morton's with Sly and just one other dude and hung out and had these big ass fucking Hollywood parties? I mean, I can say I did that. So yeah, it was a cool experience. I was young enough to take the risk, and it led to where I'm at now. But yeah, it was weird. You know, I actually turned it down, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to take it, like, a few months later. And again, it was a risk, and I'm glad I took it.
I mean, did you guys ever train together? Did you ever work out in the gym with him, or no?
No, but he was the hardest training man I've ever witnessed in my life.
Oh, really?
Dude remember the show The Contender?
Yeah.
That was his show. So that fucking show was on when we launched the company. So they were launching The Contender and the company, and that was the whole thing. We were going to launch them together. Didn't work out as planned. And this motherfucker, I swear to God, he trained harder than anybody in the world. I've never to this day, and I've trained. I didn't train with him. I'm not going to make that. But I've trained a lot. I've trained with Kai. I've trained with Ronnie before he had his health problems. I've trained with Dorian. I've trained with the greatest of the greats. Nobody can fucking train as hard as Sly.
You know, but
not one motherfucker in my life have I seen train like that guy. And he was 60 years old when I saw him train.
That's like, I'm almost 60 now. But you know what it is? That's because it's like the turtle and the rabbit. You know what I'm saying? You know, when they have the race, the turtle keeps going and going and going while the rabbit sits back. Because I've been around a lot of pro bodybuilders and in the gym with them and some of the biggest guys on the planet. I'm like, holy fuck. That's what you do. I mean, they'll stand on a cable, you know, fucking doing a cable crawl, talking or, you know, or ridiculous shit and, you know, take 10 minutes between sets. And I'm like, how the fuck do you have any muscle? But a guy like Stallone was not genetically gifted. So that's where I think his worth ethic, that's why he is where he is too. You know what I mean? Not for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a give and take. Like, you look at the guy's longevity. I think you look at a Phil Heath, and the way Phil trains is not like Dorian, but Dorian, I mean, he's doing yoga now. Dorian's doing great, but remember, Dorian tore like every fucking muscle in his body. Right. You know, Ronnie Coleman has, you know, basically back surgeries and hip replacements. And then you got someone like Dexter who's in his mid-40s and still crushing it, but Dexter is not known for training. Dexter does the minimum maximum. You know what I mean? Like, he does as little as it takes to be what he is. But again, Dexter can walk. And I think there's something to be said for kind of finding that middle ground between being Ronnie Coleman and Dorian, where you're known for this fucking off-the-chart intensity, and then you got your Phil and your Dexter, who Phil, I have no doubt, is probably the healthiest guy in the bodybuilding community right now. I have no doubt. Phil doesn't do what the other guys do, to my knowledge. Like, you don't hear about Phil doing any experimental shit, flying to fucking Kuwait and being at Oxygen Gym. Phil just stays his ass in Colorado. He has the greatest genetics since Kevin Levrone. The difference is Kevin Levrone, when he was placing second in the Olympia, was only training 12 weeks out of the year.
Right.
Phil trains. That's it. He trains. He probably does as little as possible. He trains just to the point to stimulate. I've trained with him probably 5 times. And, I mean, he's just the fucking dude. And is he arrogant? No, he's fucking confident. He's won like 20 Mr. What is he at, 7?
Yeah.
I mean, he has. If I won 7 Mr. Olympias, you'd have trouble getting me to stop showing everyone my dick. You know, like, he's literally the best at what he does. He deserves to be a little bit fucking arrogant and cocky. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm the only one who's like, yep, you kind of earned that shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's not my favorite bodybuilder, but, you know, I'll tell you what, you know, you're right when you say that, though. These guys, Lee Haney used to, you know, stayed at my house in 1987, just before the Olympia for 3 days. And he said, stimulate, don't annihilate. You know what I mean? And he was, you know, he was right. You know, I think I go a little bit too far. Even to this day, I still fucking go nuts. You know, a lot of sets, a lot of reps and everything, and intensity, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, but he always used to say, if you annihilate, it's bad. And I'm wondering if that's why Coleman's got all these, like, injuries now, and he's fucking under the knife again. You know what I mean? And you start to say to yourself, is it because of going all, you know, the constant, you know, grind and killing yourselves every day in the gym? I mean, what do you think that's all about? I mean, because not for nothing, I'm shocked at that.
Well, take it away from Ronnie. Let's go to Ed Cohn. Ed Cohn has hip replacement, and Ed Cohn's the greatest powerlifter of all time. You know, I think any time you push the body with that kind of load and intensity for that amount of time, and then also let's factor in. I mean, we got to talk about it. Steroids. Steroids make you stronger than you really fucking should be. So, I mean, you throw in some anabolic assistance, and you have a guy who probably genetically and structurally should be squatting 500 pounds, and then you put 800 pounds on the bar 3 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. Yeah, you're going to have some structural issues, and you're going to break down. I think a lot of these guys don't pay enough attention to, you know, long-term health. I think a lot of the guys are doing it now. You know, you see, you know, I think Phil, we even videoed him getting a massage, which was a little bit weird for me. Just, you know, I'm not into guys or my sister. I know you're like, well, what the fuck's wrong with that guy?
No, my girlfriend was
Phil,
go ahead. No, my girlfriend is sitting right here.
Yeah, but you know, but
she's hitting me in the leg, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm trying to listen in.
My wife's giving the kids a bath, so I'm off scot-free today. Oh. It's one of those things where I think you need to find that delicate balance, and also I think that as you get older, you just don't recover like you used to, and you know, and you'll see these bodybuilders like Dexter keeps getting better with age, but if you saw like Ronnie towards the end, he started getting a little bit worse with age. So the question is, if you were to temper and leave a little bit in the tank, will you be able to continue if you erase all of the genetic issues with you know, testosterone? A lot of what happens when we get old is because, fuck, man, your testosterone drops and your shit. But let's say you're on steroids. Let's say you're a professional bodybuilder. Why can't we all get results like Dexter if we're maintaining an exogenous supply of hormones? If we maintain some kind of semblance of order in our training and we don't push it too far, we injure ourselves. You never hear about Dexter tearing a pec or a tricep or a thigh, like, you know, I think Victor tore his quad training. You know, it's like you don't hear about that, but you also don't see YouTube videos of Dexter squatting 700 pounds for 5 reps.
You're right, but you hit the nail on the head with something you just said, because I think that a lot of times these guys What happens is they start to get older. They know in their head, they say, I got to train a little bit harder because I'm getting older. So I got to take a little bit more stuff. It's almost like you ever see an actress, you see some of these actresses as they get older, instead of getting older gracefully and maybe taking care of yourself, they do the Botox and they do all this shit. So now their face looks like this and shit. You know what I mean? And you say to yourself, if you didn't do that, you know, am I right or wrong? I think that sometimes they compensate by taking more shit because they think, you know, in their head, well, I'm getting older now. You know, I mean, what do you think of that? No? Or
bro, age is a process. You know, you look at, I saw a picture of Jennifer Aniston. Remember from Friends?
Yeah.
She's like 50. Fuck, is she? You can tell she's not Botoxed out. She's hot as fuck, but she's aged naturally. But I live in, where I live, I don't live in that area, but I train in St. Charles, Illinois at Export. And you could tell the older women, because I go when a lot of housewives go, you know, a lot of women who, you know, stay at home, their husbands work, they have a lot of money. The community of St. Charles, I bet you each household makes $250 to $300 a year. And you could tell the ones who just went too many Botox shots, man. They look like something fucking stung them in their face. And like, if you're old and you don't have fucking wrinkles, like people say all the time online, man, you're only 37, you look about 50. I'm like, look, man, I'm aging, man. I'm fucking 37. I still have a full head of hair. I have wrinkles. Fuck yeah, I got a ton of fucking wrinkles. But I'm 37 years old. There's only one man who doesn't age, and that's Mike O'Hearn. Mike O'Hearn has not aged since he was fucking 18 years old.
How old is he?
Can someone tell me why the fuck Mike O'Hearn still looks like he's in his teens? He's like 46.
Oh, shit. Is he 46? I didn't think he was that old yet, you know?
Man, I remember when I fucking trained, when I was 15 years old, training at Gold's fucking Venice. I fucking shit you not. And he was on that stupid Battle Dome TV show as Mike O'Dell was his character. This motherfucker, I saw him training at Gold's Venice, and I'm like, that guy he's like a fucking god. Like, and all I remember is he was doing fucking reverse hypers with like fucking 800 fucking pounds. And he was with his old wife, Mindy,
right,
and some other dude. This back in the fucking day. This is in 1995.
Was it?
At fucking Gold's Venice.
With that,
this motherfucker was old in 95. Like he was fucking married.
That's funny.
I was 15.
That's funny because I was in Gold's Gym back in 1980. I mean, those fucking guys, you know, those guys then, they knew how to train. But it was different than the guys today. It was a totally different, the way they train today and the way they eat and all that stuff with all the insulin, these guys eating 10,000 calories and all those carbs. Nobody ate like that back then. Never, ever. You know what I mean? That's also part of the reason why what they call the GH gut and all that stuff. It's not just GH. It's insulin and fucking stretching the stomach bag. You can't eat 10,000 calories and have a tiny waist. It's impossible. What do you think about that? I mean,
now here. I think it's a lot of food and volume. Now, let me give you a story. My daughter's friends watch my Instagram.
Right.
Hopefully they're not watching this. So when my daughter was a baby, between the ages of probably 6 months and probably 3 or 4, she had an issue where we don't know if it was a physiological issue, but she just couldn't shit. So she'd go for like 6-7 days, and her stomach would get distended. If you look at her old picture, she had a fucking distended gut. And then she'd shit, and she'd feel better, but her stomach was still distended. Now, long story short, it took her till she was probably 10 or 11 after fixing this at like the age of 6. So it took her like 4 years for her stomach to bloat, so to speak. So by these guys pounding in 10, 12, 15,000 calories a day, and this is just a theory, it's expanding their intestines like my daughter's. So it's going to take time. And here's why I say that. Remember when Dennis James he came back and he had no gut?
Yeah.
He literally had the largest fucking GH gut on stage. He takes 3 years off or whatever, comes back, and he's got a fucking great waist. Organs don't fucking shrink from dry. I mean, that's not an organ thing. It's something to do with expanding the intestines, maybe just having too much food in your stomach, and insulin allows you to eat so much fucking food.
Right.
And it's just they're super physiologically expanding their gut. Everybody wants to point to drugs, and no doubt about it. The drugs allowing them to eat all that food or giving them the appetite to eat all that food is definitely a part of it. However, you know, looking at what happened with my daughter's experience of expanding her stomach, literally till like she had a fucking GH gut till she was like 9. I mean, you'd see a girl who's playing on travel soccer teams, who's just exercising and training, and she still had a stomach. Now she has abs because she trains and she's a center mid, so she'll run 7 miles a game. But before, I mean, but think about it. That was not fat, Greg. That was something distended in her gut. And it wasn't anything now because she doesn't eat 15,000 calories and she's shitting just fine. Trust me, I have to plunge her toilet every fucking day. Her friends are going to love me next. She's going to love me after this one. But yeah, so I actually, funny story, when she used to go for like a week, we couldn't flush the toilet. It would come out literally, I wish I had like a fucking, it would be like this. It would be a fucking huge, and so I'd have to get a plastic bag, put it on my hand, take it out, then fold the bag over the poop, and it was like holding a fucking rock. It was insane. So I mean, that's why I think that it's beyond just the pointing to GH makes no sense, because I know GH can grow tumors and stuff, but there's no data showing that it's going to do that. And insulin, the only thing you can point to insulin is it causes potential growth down there. IGF, I mean, I think they're just doing so much shit and eating so much food that it's anybody's fucking guess.
Oh, no, definitely. That's what I was saying at the beginning. It's definitely the insulin allows you to eat so much more food, because also carbohydrates and everything. And I'll tell you, I do believe, though, that a lot of some kids do get that belly, but I think that they grow out of it. I think that there's almost not baby fat, but it's a bloat. You know what I'm saying? But I do know that that Palumbo's working with Big Lenny, and I know that Big Lenny said that he's already losing weight. And I know that Dave told me I put him on, he put him on his fiber supplement, but he has him on both soluble and insoluble fiber, and he thinks he's got impacted food in his intestines. He thinks that's what it is, and I
really,
I would be surprised if a lot of these bodybuilders don't have that. I mean, from eating, the amount of calories that they eat today is insane. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, it's not normal. You know what I mean? It's way different. In 10 years ago, they didn't even eat like that. And that's what they're doing out in Kuwait. I mean, it's constant. It's like shoveling food. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
Yeah, they're doing something magical in fucking Kuwait.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I was saying this on a previous show. I remember training in 1980, 81, 82, 83. I trained each year in Gold's Gym. You know what I mean? I spent the whole winters. I'd leave in New York and I'd go out there. And the biggest fucking guy I ever saw was Victor Richards. And I'll tell you, guys think Big Rammy's big. Victor Richards has that mass back in friggin' 1980. I mean, he was just absolutely thick through the chest and back. Rammy's wide, but his thickness is not like Victor Richards or any of that stuff.
Victor Richards was, in my opinion, he was probably the most impressive bodybuilder. He was definitely the most impressive one to never see a stage, but maybe potentially the most impressive because he still had a beautiful weight.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Like Victor Richards,
absolutely.
He made big pretty. Like there's something about Ramy that just, and I don't want to sound disrespectful because he's a fucking specimen, right?
Yes.
But fucking Victor Richards made that shit pretty. Like that motherfucker was pretty.
Nobody's saying that. Absolutely, I agree with you. Nobody's saying that a Big Ramy guys don't freak out. I'm not saying Big Ramy looks like he looks bad or anything like that. But what I'm saying is these guys with the drugs today and the food and the way they're eating this Victor Richards basically was doing that shit with barbells, dumbbells, and eating eggs and chicken and stuff. I mean, he was I know Victor very well, and he was a monster. Same thing with Rory Liedlmeyer. Rory Liedlmeyer's waist was tiny, and I swear to God, his arms were bigger than his waist when out there. It was unbelievable. He was.
Now, was insulin even a factor in Victor Richards' time?
No.
I don't think it was that widespread.
Nope, I don't think.
We were scared. I remember it was something we didn't even talk about back in the day.
But
until Duchesne did his dirty diet.
Do you know what, though? I'll tell you what. You know where the insulin really, the first person that they really, like Duchesne, because I knew Dan Duchesne. The first person that anybody ever really knew about insulin and saw the effects of insulin was Tim Belknap. Because if you saw Tim Belknap before a show and then after a show, just a day or two later, his face looked different. He looked like holy shit, what a different, because he was a diabetic. And whenever he would take insulin, his reaction, he just fucking blew up. He would compete on a Saturday. By Monday, he was a totally different bodybuilder. You know what I'm saying? And Duchesne.
Now, Greg, did you have any experience with insulin?
No, I've never taken it.
Did you ever try insulin?
No, I only took like 6,000 milligrams of testosterone and then throw a bottle of equipoise on top of that and some fucking anadrols and you name it. Dude, I did 6,000 milligrams. I took a whole bottle of Steris, 200 milligrams. I used to like propionate because it gets in your fat.
Is that in a fucking day or a week?
No, that's a whole bottle. Wait, check this out. A whole bottle on Monday, 10 cc's, 200 milligrams. Then another whole bottle. I was a drug dealer. So then another whole bottle on Wednesday and a whole bottle on Friday. So that's 2,000 milligrams on Monday, 2,000 milligrams on Wednesday, and then 2,000 milligrams on Friday. Then I used to have 50 cc's of Ganabol. That's why everybody thinks the Synthol. I stuck all that shit. I stuck it in the arm. But I mean, I was taking so much shit. It was fucking insane. I mean, I'm 5'6". I weighed 275. And I wasn't fat. You know what I mean? I mean, I gained 100 pounds on that. It was ridiculous. I looked terrible. I couldn't breathe and shit. But you get like in the momentum of all that shit. I mean, I would throw Sten, I would crack open like 6 Sten and throw it on one side and then throw 6 Sten on the other side. You know what I mean? I was nuts,
That had to hurt.
Well, what hurt the worst?
That had to
Try
hurt.
getting locked up, going to jail, and you're going from taking 6,000 milligrams to Zippo. You know what I mean? It wasn't a nice feeling inside. I feel like shit, But,
yeah,
I gotta tell you.
Well, you're here now.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
You're here now.
The MARC is the craziest fucking thing. It was like time-release juice. I had so much of that fucking juice oil in me that I didn't take steroids for a couple of years, and it was still like fucking, it took a long time. It was like time-released, you know what I mean? It took time for it to...
It had to be...
It was crazy.
There has to be some scar tissue that it's releasing from or something.
What's that?
It has to be caught in the scar tissue or something.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm loaded with scar tissue from that. Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I was nuts. But, everybody still, like with that whole exploding arm, that never happened the way they did. But people still come up to me, how you doing? How's your arm? I'm like, not for nothing. That was 1999. It's that it was filmed in 1999. They put it on, it was 2004 when a Firecracker Films and the BBC, they put it in and then TLC picked it up and all that. But all that shit was fucking a long time. My son hit me with a bat. That's why I drained it of blood. There was no oil in it. It was a hematoma. I drained a big fucking thing like this. I'll show you the whole video. It's like this, right?
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, I get the whole video. It's like a fucking half hour of nothing but fucking draining his blood. And I fill up like a big mayonnaise jar. But what people do, but it was only one arm. What do you think? I shot one arm with Synthol, not the other. I mean, people are stupid. But anyway, my son was 9 years old. He's now the one that's 28, intelligence with the government. So that's how long ago that was, It was stupid. People are shot, but maybe I'm shot. Maybe people are normal. I'm the fucking...
Well, at least you live to tell about it.
Yeah, I know, right? At least I'm here.
So here's another thing. Like, you see the testosterone levels now. McCarver came out at what, 55,000? Did they say his test levels?
Holy shit!
Some insane number.
I don't even know.
I could have sworn somebody, maybe I can't see the comments, but yeah, it was some insane number, and they were saying how many cc's a week he had to be taking. I don't know if that's normal, but he obviously grew a lot faster than I've seen a lot of pros.
Well, let's face it. Listen, God rest his soul, rest in peace, Dallas McCarver. But
Absolutely.
But let's be realistic here. If he wasn't a bodybuilder, he'd probably still be alive. I mean, not for nothing, but and I know some of you Dallas fans will be like, "What?" Simmer down. Nobody's throwing shade, but there's a lot of bodybuilders out there who are, who have passed away or who are sick, who, I mean, not for nothing, if they weren't a bodybuilder and they didn't take the chemicals they took in excess, you got to remember something. I only was on steroids for like a 5-year clip. I trained 23 years as a natural, then I took those steroids, and then I went to jail. So that means you can't, otherwise I might have been one of those casualties, because there's no way I was going to stop. And I was a fucking drug dealer, and I had so much shit. I could bathe in it, you know what I mean? So, I was stupid, but you never know with these guys, I mean, I'm a firm believer that poor kid would be alive if he wasn't a body.
Well, that's the thing, Greg. Steroids don't cause death, but they are a correlating factor. You can't argue about the fact it does put stress on your heart. The extra weight it makes you carry puts stress on the heart. The lipid profile changes from being on steroids puts stress on the heart. And also and then you go beyond steroids. Insulin, it's literally something that if you fuck up, it will kill you. And I have fuckers taking DNP, and I'm like, DNP doesn't work. Yeah, it works, but why not? The thing is, muscle gain, steroids will make you grow bigger than if you didn't take them, right?
Right.
However, DNP is just a shortcut because you can lose the fat. It's just going to take 2 months instead of 2 days. It's just it's a long game. I think DNP is just it's doing something that you can definitely do naturally, just a lot faster. It's a shortcut.
Here's the problem with DNP.
Steroids aren't a short.
I was going to say, you know what the problem with DNP is? The dosage that will actually make you lose fat and then the dosage that kills you are almost close to being the same. If you fuck with that shit and you go a little bit beyond, it's almost like, let's say 10 milligrams of something is good, 11 milligrams kill you. You know what I mean? That's the problem with DNP. And I know a girl who died from DNP, and I know 2 guys who died from insulin. Do you know that they use there are people who use insulin to commit suicide? That's it. All you have to do is take insulin, overdose on insulin, don't eat sugar, and you're dead. Boom. Easy way to die. Bang. So, I mean, think about it.
Yeah, I always like DNP, the thing is, steroids supercharged. They make you bigger and better. DNP just speeds something up. So I can see, and also steroids aren't going to directly kill you. DNP will. So my whole thing is, before you take, let's say you're already on, there's certain gateways. Okay, the first step for you train naturally for X amount of years. They're like, okay, I'm going to go on steroids. And the key is, okay, you're on steroids. Now, how do you prevent that person from going into things that can kill them immediately? Like insulin, like DNP. Because a lot of great physiques were built without insulin.
You're right. You're right. All the really great physiques, these physiques today are not really great physiques. The physiques that we all talk about, the Lee Haneys and all those kind of guys, those guys didn't do insulin. That came after. You know what I mean? Think about this. Guys, even in the pumping iron era, when I was younger and everything, they had an over 200 and an under 200. In the over 200 in the Mr. Olympia, there were like 3 or 4 guys. In the under 200 was where everybody was. Today, you can't get guys that are 5'2" and shit like that. I have a friend who's 5'1", Alessandro Savi, and I love him to death. But he's so big in the off season, he can't even get down at 212. Is hard for him. You know what I mean? He's like 255.
Well, for fuck's sake,
what's that?
They had to make the 202 the 212 division. They straight added 10 pounds because these fuckers couldn't get to 202.
Right. And it wasn't that long ago. I mean, Sean Ray was a great bodybuilder, was 198, you know what I mean? Rich Gaspari was 202 or something like that. These guys were not... Lila Brada. What was Lila Brada? He was in the 180s. I forgot. He was here at my house, too. In 2 weeks before the 88 Olympia.
Yeah.
So, I mean... You know, Lila Prada. I mean, think about that. You know, today, you know, these guys, and you can't tell me the human beings evolved since like the 1980s. No, right? I mean,
no, and you go into other sports as well. You can't tell me that an NFL lineman is 150 pounds heavier now than in the 1980s from sheer will and training and good food. You know, we've come a long way as a society, and doping is a huge part of every sport. And bodybuilding is the only sport that truly exhibits doping at its highest level. And that's why, you know, I don't really see it being a Olympic sport ever, because bodybuilding is synonymous with doping. And while every sport dopes, we literally are judged on how well we dope. So it is what it is.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's just, I mean, sports has evolved, obviously. But I mean, even basketball, every basketball player is muscular. When I was younger, they were just skinny guys. You know what I'm saying? Dr. J and all those guys. You know, I'm talking about in the 70s, you know, in the 60s. I'm older. But, you know, it's just, I'm just saying, you know, sports has changed, obviously, conditioning, this, that, the other thing. But, you know, you can't tell me. I was always a test, you know, I didn't like that guy. So test, equipoise, D-ball, and anything else, you know, androgen guy. But I never even took growth hormone because I was a cheap bastard and I didn't fucking feel like spending that kind of money. You know what I mean?
I don't know how people afford growth hormone. I really don't. I have no idea how it happens. I knew a guy when I lived in North Carolina, not going to say who, but there was an IFBB pro who actually took out a second mortgage on his house for the GH for his prep. It was like he had like 15 G's in just GH.
Wow. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
I shit
but see, that's why these guys can't get wives and have families, normal families, because what woman's going to be like, you know, oh, wait, oh, shit, I got to get my meal done. Oh, fuck, I got to take my, you know what I mean? It's like, that's ridiculous. For what? So you win a fucking trophy? You know what I mean? Or you know, if you're not in top 5 in the Olympia, forget it. You know, the check you get just covers maybe what you've eaten and you know, I mean, it's really not worth it. There's no money in this sport, you know? That's what I look at.
Oh, and you know what, Greg? I've gotten a lot of heat for saying this, but honestly, we don't bring enough crowds for there to be. We have 2 shows a year, and we can't even sell out the cheapest fucking shitty hotel in Vegas. The Orleans is a fucking joke. It's on fucking. It's between a fucking strip club and a fucking porn store, and it smells like shit. It looks like shit. And when it was at when I was at Weider, I helped put on the Olympia. And we held it at the Mandalay, and that's when the Olympia was prestigious. And the Mandalay,
I was there.
Now it's like it's at the fucking Orleans. We can't even be on the Strip. The convention's a fucking 30-minute drive away. And that's our fucking Super Bowl.
Let me tell you something. Think about how fucked up this sport is anyway, in the sense that you can put the current Mr. Olympia at a table right here, and then you put some other, you know, you put a Rich Piana or somebody over here, and he'll be sitting, Mr. Olympia will be sitting by himself, and everybody goes with the social media stars today. They're bigger than, you know, am I right or wrong? I mean, they...
Oh, you're absolutely correct. And you know what? That's because it's changed. Like, I don't think people can relate to a Mr. Olympia, yet you put Christian Guzman or any of these social media guys or YouTubers. And, you know, I have a little bit of a following on social media. And I was at, I'm not going to say which pro, I was at an opening of a gym, and there was a pro bodybuilder there. And I had a line, and I don't deserve a line. I'm a fucking soccer dad from the suburbs of Chicago. I'm a mediocre pro. This is a good pro. This is a good fucking pro. I had probably a 40-minute line. It was a small event. He was literally standing there eating, and no one knew who he was. And I'm like, I was literally sending people, that's that guy. He's fucking good. Go. And it was like, but it makes sense because it's changed, and it's not as prestigious. Back in the day, you looked at you looked at a Lee Haney or a Dorian Yates and Arnold, and they were fucking deities, man. They were statues. And now you just look at them, and the sport's been tarnished so much, and all the you know, the negative connotations from the media on the drugs and everything, where you know what? It's kind of lost its prestige. And honestly, we've had a run where a lot of these bodybuilders are just assholes. The social media guys, they know how to talk to people. You know, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not a pro. Again, I'm as mediocre as they come. I seriously, I train like an old bitch. Your line. And
you get long lines at the shows. I've seen them. I remember.
I'm done.
You get long lines.
I'm done going to shows. It ended up being, it was a bad investment. I did a video on it, but here's the thing: is that like, it's just, you gotta know, you gotta be nice to people, and a lot of these bodybuilders just lack personality. But if you go talk to one of these guys, like, they're so good with people, and they're so good at interacting with fans, and bodybuilders get this like elitist attitude, and they just refuse to, for example, even at my local gym, like, if I have anybody come up to me, I'll literally drop the barbell and be like, "Hey, what's going on? Thanks so much. What's your name? How you doing?" And, just talk, because I really fucking love people.
Me too.
I'm like you. I mean, I love people. I spent a half hour talking to the fucking lady checking me out at fucking the grocery store the other day, just like talking about our dogs. That's just me. But I think that a lot of these bodybuilders just lack the charisma. And they're almost, and even when they're training, like, you come up to the gym, they're like, "Oh no, I got to get my set." It's like, that's great and all, but dude, like, who's amazing? Kai Green.
Oh, I know Kai.
Is the greatest representative for fucking bodybuilding in the world. That guy will stand. He came and trained at Tiger Fitness headquarters after he won the Arnold, and he did his photo shoot and video shoot in our gym. He stood there and started conversation with our employees. He literally sought them out, like, "Hey, how you doing? How do you like working here?" He was just, I mean, what a fucking amazing guy that Kai Green is.
He is. Mark, I did a whole story about when I was younger, and I was a natural competitor, and I was really good. I used to beat guys on juice all the time. And then one day I was at Johnny Lat's gym, and I was posing, and, outside, and out comes this little black kid, and he starts posing. I remember his back and his legs. And I was like, holy fuck. And it was Kai Green. It was a long time ago. I was with, Victor Martinez and all, we were all younger back then. He was a teenager,
Yeah.
But, I'm saying, so I remember Kai when he was a natural bodybuilder. And he, as a natural, could beat a lot of these guys today. I mean, he was really, same thing with Coleman. Fucking Coleman was natural. And he still stood on the Olympia stage. It's fucking crazy.
No one believes me when I tell him that story. And also, let's talk about Kai Green. Remember, at 18 years old, he won the most prestigious natural bodybuilding title at the time, the WMBF World Title.
Yeah.
World Championships. Kai Green was a fucking amazing natural competitor, as was Ronnie Coleman.
But he was natural and a teenager. I couldn't fucking believe it. You know what I mean? Because I was pretty jacked as a natural, and I was proud, and I thought I was a little cocky. And then when I saw this kid, I was like, holy fuck, and he was dense. You don't get density like that as a natural bodybuilder. That really dense.
Kai Green.
And he's a great guy. He's a very, very nice guy. A lot of these people out here, they don't know him. You know what I mean? But he's a very, very nice guy.
I think there's a lot of misconceptions about Kai. I think he did some things in the past that kind of haunted him for a little bit. But if you've ever talked to Kai personally, he understands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's Kai's one of the most underrepresented, underestimated minds in the sport. He understands. He's completely cognizant of what's going on. He just chooses not to pay attention and address things that aren't going to help him if he addresses them. And he's an amazing man.
Like the negativity. Mark, we got about a minute and 20 seconds. I see it right up here coming. So anything new coming with you, or you were telling me you got an event? You want to throw it out there at all, or no?
Yeah, you're invited. Real Weights for Real Heroes, July 21st in Babylon, New York, at World Gym Babylon. We're aiming to raise $75,000 for the Semper Fi Fund, put on by Natural Body in New York, which is a retail store. So realweightsforrealheroes.com. All goes to Semper Fi.
I love that. Being a father of a soldier, my father was a wartime. My son served in the war. So I mean, I love all that stuff, and I hope you guys go. Anything new with any products or anything good coming out with you? before we go?
Let's just focus on the charity, man. Real weights for real heroes. That's all we need.
I love it. I love it. We got about let's see here, 30 seconds left. Mark, man, thanks so much. You're going to be at the Arnold, right?
I'm not going to be there, but we will be at our headquarters an hour away. Come by. Our gym is free to the public, 9 to 5 on weekdays. Just come on by, grab a workout.
All right, you guys hear that shit? So get your ass over there. Don't be fucking cheap either. Bring your wallet. Anyway, we got 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Mark LoBliner, thank you. I respect you very much.